today's video, I want to talk about my general thought process before I start a career in Umamusume. This is not going to be anything for the sweats, for the super competitives. This is not going to be CM specific. That's a whole different thought process. This is going to be for those who are maybe struggling to get their first scenario win. Maybe for those who haven't gotten 1,000 or more in one stat. This is also going to be for someone who may not have read the massive 150-page reference doc. This may also be for someone who is like, I don't have these cards, I didn't whale, I didn't get lucky. How can I still go about working with what I have? And so today, like I said, I want to give you my general thought process for these things, so that way we could turn around and get better Umas, get through these scenarios, and just have more fun with what we have, instead of, I don't have this MLB, I don't have that MLB, I'm screwed. Because that's not the case. So let's go ahead and get started. First things first, when we start a career, we want to go ahead and take a look at our Uma and say, what are they good at? If we take a look at McQueen, she can run pace and she can also run front. She can do medium and she can do long. So before I even start, I want to say, okay, I'm going to build her for pace and I'm going to build her for medium. That's my goal. And I'm going to stick to that. If I have a front spark and then it goes to an S on the front spark, I'm not going to go here and build her as front. We're going to stick here. Even if it's an S front, we're going to stick to pace and we're going to stick to medium or long, whatever distance. And we're going to stick with that. So even if we get those S's in whatever one we're not focusing on, stay to the goal. The next thing that I want to say that is very, very important is, for instance, on someone like Super Creek, we want to take a look and say she can go pace and she can go late. But what does her unique say? Kind of just says whenever well positioned in mid race. Okay, so now we're gonna have to go to Game Tora. We'll take a look at what her unique is, and then we'll click the more button and we'll say, where does this actually get procced at? Well, this tells me when I'm in second place or beyond, up to the 40th percent of the pack. So I could be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever the pack number is. If it's 18, if it's 16, just take 40% of that. Boom. If we're in CM, then that means it can only be used when I'm second, third, or fourth, as you can see with this right here. So now it kind of makes it a little bit more awkward, because I may not want to take her as a late, because what if there's so many people ahead of me and I'm not in that 2, 3, 4 range? My unique's not going to proc and it's going to be completely useless. So now that we have our goal, let's make sure we know what our unique is used for and where it's used for, so that way we can get the maximum effectiveness out of our unique. I will say there is at one point that you can pivot from this, and that's from saying, hey, I turned around and I'm getting super unlucky. I got all the sleep deprives, I got all the mood downs in the world. My support cards aren't going to where I need them to go. At that point in time, then I would say, hey, let's just go for 600 speed, stam, and power, and let's pray we get a spark. Because I've had those runs, I've been there, nothing goes my way, and it's just horrendous, and there's nothing I can do, but I can pivot. I also like to keep those runs around, because for me, I'm in a guild that has a fan requirement weekly, so it's like, hey, I still want to get my fans in. But if you're not in a guild like that, or you're aiming at getting a specific thing and only that, then quit the run and call it a day. Glue it and call it a day. So now the next thing that I will check for is, what are my growth rates? Every character is going to have a different growth rate, so that means we may be taking different cards. So on someone like Super Creek, she does have that 10% stamina, which means I could potentially get away with, instead of my general go-to build is 3 speed, 3 stamina. But with something like a 10% growth rate in stamina, I may be able to get away with taking 2 stamina cards if I have the stamina sparks to supplement that. So if we take a look at this Super Creek right here, you'll notice I took 2 stamina cards, 3 speed, and 1 wit. And I was still able to get 861 stamina on a bad run. And that's because I have a 9-star stamina here, and of course, this is a guest. And then I have 6 stamina here with 1 wit. Now on the low side, when my inspirations hit, I think I was getting like 77 on the low, but then 105 on the high. So even if we were to say 90, that's still 180 extra stamina that I'm getting from taking these sparks. That enables me to turn around and take a different card instead of going that 3-3. So depending on what that Uma's growth rate is, and depending on the sparks that you have available, you can now turn around and say, oh, I may need to take 2 speed cards instead of 3 because I might have a 20% growth rate in speed and I might have speed sparks available to me. I may be able to turn around and take, like I did here, 2 stamina cards because I've got 20% and I have stamina sparks available. This is where you'll have to take a look at your account and what you're running and then determine it from there. Real quickly, if you're enjoying the video, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. Let's get back to the video. The last and most important thing, this is where everybody can get tripped up very easily, myself included. We need to make sure we understand the differences between stat stick cards and skill cards before we even go into our run. So if we take a look at Game Torah, and I'm using the tools and going to compare, you can go ahead and pick whatever cards it is that you have here. If you're using an R card, which I hope you don't have to, you can also choose those there. So if we take a look at the Sweep Tosho and the Kita-san Black, I've got a Sweep Tosho at 2 LB, got Kita at 4. You can always borrow this card if you need to. But we'll take a look at Kita, and the reason why, one of the many reasons why she's really coveted as a card, is because she has that 100 specialty priority. That means she's going to be, in theory, an anchor card. She will always be there. When we take a look at a card like Special Week, she's got 30, and we've got Nishino Flower who has 0. That means they're not going to be there as often, or they're just going to be floating around from time to time. The other 2 important stats that I like to take a look at are Training Effectiveness and Friendship Bonus. Friendship Bonus is when they have that rainbow hit, and then Training Effectiveness means they're just going to be able to empower other nodes. So for instance, even if I get like a 5 here or an 8 here, and obviously they're not going to be the best anchor, if they go to, let's say, Stamina and I have a rainbow hit there, they're going to bolster that just a little bit more. And so when I'm looking for a stat stick card, those are the ones that I'm looking for most of the time. And so now this is where we turn around and say, oh, well, for someone like Special Week card, why am I taking her? If we take a look at her, it's not because she's got crazy specialty priority, it's not because she's got crazy training effectiveness, but more so for her skills. If we take a look at this, I get Gourmand from her. So if I'm not running a Pace Chaser, guess what? I'm not going to take this card because that's the reason why I want this card to begin with. And so then I may opt into a different card like maybe King Halo, maybe Asian Flash, because those cards I do have, and they do have a little bit better stats, more to be a little bit consistent compared to being that flow card. The reason why I also do like to have high Friendship Bonus and high Training Effectiveness is because that enables me to get those big 77 speed hits, those 100 speed hits. We turn around and have that Training Effectiveness, that Friendship Bonus, and they all just combine to get those massive hits, and that enables you to get to that 1150, 1200 stat much faster. And so now that we know about our stats, and now that we know about what skills it is that we're going after, the last thing that I want to take a note of is Nishino Flower. That's the one that I could think of off the top of my head. The reason why I chose her is because she's not gonna have a lot of specialty priority, doesn't have the most training effectiveness or friendship bonus in the world. However, she does have initial friendship gauge, so she gets to that rainbow hit faster. The other reason why is because there will be some cards that turn around and give you a certain status. So this gives you Charming, which if we take a look at it, it builds the friendships with the training partners faster. And so there will be cards that give you different little buffs throughout your run. I know Practice Perfect from off of Fine Motion would be an example of another one. So if you take cards for that particular reason, just make sure you know why you're taking your card. Is it to give me a buff? Is it to give me a certain skill? Or is it to help me get to those 70, 80, 90 plus stat hits? So that way we can get to our goal much quicker. And now with all of that knowledge beforehand going into the run, you may be able to turn around and hopefully build something better than this. You know, what did I miss from here? I didn't get the Speed Star from Fine Motion, and I also towards the end, I just wasn't getting any rainbows and I didn't get that 1200 speed that I was hoping for. But you can already see that with these cards and with that knowledge, I'm able to kind of already map out beforehand what it is I'm looking for and how closely can I get to that. And so I'm hoping that this video enables you to look at your account, to look at your sparks, look at your deck, and look at your Umas and say, oh, I can use this, and this, and I don't need to worry about, oh, I don't have this MLB, I don't have that MLB, and turn around and just play the game without having that FOMO, without having that kind of bad feeling of like, oh man, my stuff sucks. We can still take a limited thing and still make great Umas. They may not be that 1200 across the board, but we may have like an 1100, an 850, and then 600 power. Hey, that's still great to me. And then we can build it up from there as we get more sparks and as we move along. If you have any other general thought processes before making an Uma or before going into a run, please let me know down in the comment sections below, and we can help other players as they make their journey into training more and more Umas. Also, if you are watching on mobile, there should be a hype button somewhere. If you think that more people should see this video, be sure to hit that hype button for me. And while you're there, if you haven't already and you want to see more Umamusume content, be sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Last but not least, be sure to share this with your friends, with your family, and with your friends' family, so that way we can be training our Umas effectively and know what it is we're looking for beforehand and have better runs, RNG, assuming it's nice. Thank you so much for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.